Hello. I've just paid my tax bill. It was 5 figures. It wasn't nice. It wasn't pretty. You sit there staring at it all year and you think, oh, I could just go and buy a car with that or a holiday to the Bahamas. But no, it belongs to the HMRC. But what really got me was, when I processed the transfer, straight away, no questions were asked. None. Why is that? Because normally when I pay like £1,000 or £2,000 or transfer money to, my bank always says, who is this? Where's this money going to? That like my mum. Are you sure you want to make this decision? Are you sure this is not a scam? But when it comes to the HMRC, they were like, yep. Just pay the gangster. Just pay him straight. No questions asked. And it got me really thinking. The government obviously own everything. They've got their little fingers in everything. Have a great day.
HMRC have imposed a new tax penalty that you need to know about. So if you're late filing your self-assessment, HMRC will now start charging you a daily penalty of £10 for up to 90 days if you're 3 months late with your return. You'll also have to pay an immediate automatic £100 fine if you miss the deadline of 31st of January. And if you're 6 months late with your filing, you'll have to pay the higher of 5% of the tax bill that you owe, or £300. Now you can appeal a late filing for any of the circumstances that I put on screen here, and this is directly from the government's website, but in most cases there is no way out. So just make sure that your accountant is keeping you up to date with all of the relevant tax deadlines, and of course follow for more tips that other accountants won't tell you.
Now this is a serious one, people, and breaking news, because if you want to withdraw your cash from the bank, you are now not allowed, basically, especially if it's at large sums, and I'm talking only £3,000 or more, that you have to notify HMRC that you're withdrawing that money, and you need to be able to supply evidence on why, basically, so what you're using it for, and the proof and evidence that you've used it for the purpose that you've declared that what you're using it. I call bullshit on this one. I'm sorry. We work hard, we earn our money. What we decide to do with our money, when we decide to do what, you know what my point is. Nobody dictates to us, considering we're shafted left, right and centre in regards to paying tax after tax after tax. This country needs to seriously leave us alone, okay? Let us enjoy what we have left of our dignity and our assets. If I want to take out money from my bank account, I'm going to be able to do so. No one's going to dictate at all. But at the moment, it looks like they have. So, seriously need to know what your thoughts are on this, because guess what? You're not allowed to take money out of the bank unless you can prove why and what for. Let me know.
No matter how hardworking you are in this country, HMRC is going to f*** you. No matter how hardworking, how serious, how you pack shifts finish for this country, HMRC máa jẹ ojú ẹ. Payslip ti jáde ń sí o, èló ló gbà pẹ̀lú adúrú shift tó kó jọ. No dey pick extra shift, you know dey hear. Now they don deduct all your money, you dey scream for my head, you no allow me rest. Na me send you message.
So I received a letter saying that I would receive a tax refund of £60. Now, it's only £60, but still, nice little touch. Anyway, I get the cheque today, and it turns out that £50 is for the fees, £10 is for the VAT, and I get a grand total of 40p. Now that, I literally don't know how I'm going to spend this. Any suggestions would be great.
Yeah, I'll be with you in a minute. I'm just going to phone HMRC. Hi there. Oh. Hi, yes, I'm looking for my government gateway user ID. Yep, the 12 characters. I can't seem to find them anywhere. So is my Groucho membership a business expense?
Do you know what? I hate today's like today, right? I've been out on it all day, pissing wet through, pissed off with the whole thing. I'm self-employed. I can't afford to have time off. I'm not rich. I'm like you, struggling every month to pay the bills, knowing that the council tax is going to go up again, and also now knowing that the energy price is going to go up again by 6%. It's absolutely ridiculous. The country is broken, 100% broken. People like me and you are having to struggle like mad. I like to wish I had some credit cards and loans to get myself out of the shit all the time, but I did an IVA last year because it just got to the point that I couldn't afford to pay that. But I'm still struggling. Things keep going up. You know what really pisses me off? I've got a hotel a couple of miles away from me full of these boat people. I don't see them struggling. The annoying thing is, when they first come here, you see them walking through the village and they've got flip-flops on and a pair of shorts. You see them a few weeks later, new trainers, tracksuit, carrying a new phone. Now the screen on my phone, it's got 3 or 4 cracks. It's a bit of a pain to use, to be honest, but I can't afford to get the new screen at the moment. So I'm pissed off with all my hard money being earned going on bills and the rest going to the tax man, so they can just give it to all these freeloaders that shouldn't be here for a start. It's at the point things have got to change. It's just getting worse. And then at the same time, Keir Starmer just announced he's going to put billions into the military services and all the rest of it. So there is money there. So what's this energy hike for? 6%? Because I don't think the actual base rate's changed. It's just like been invented from what I can see. So yeah, is it to keep them warm when we got to pay for it? I don't know. What are your thoughts? Obviously, yeah, please like and share this video. I mean, follow me even, because I like to come on here and rant a bit. But yeah, Britain is broken, absolutely broken. We need radical change. That's what we need at the next general election. You know what I'm saying.
The average monthly salary in the UK is £2,391 and the average rent in the UK is £1,327. So after electricity, bills, council tax, you've got about 500-600 quid a month, 150 quid a week to enjoy your life. You've got to escape this. I don't care how you do, you just have to escape this. You have to start earning money online. Start an online service business, work for free for your first client, just so you get some experience, get some case studies. Once you've done that, charge £1,500 to £2,000 a month, spend the next 3 months trying to get 2 or 3 clients, and all of a sudden you have more money than the average person in the UK online, and you can go and live wherever you want. I personally do recruitment where my average fee is anywhere from about £7,000 to £12,000. So if I do 4 a year, just 4, I'm earning more money than most people in the UK. Stop listening to all those losers tell you everything's a scam online. You just need to lock in for 3 to 6 months. Just because you have an online business doesn't mean you have to make millions to be happy and successful. You just need enough money where you're not having to go to a 9 to 5 every single day that you hate. Wake up without an alarm, be a man, be independent, do what you want, not having to listen to other people every single day of your life.
I have about 3 or 4 clients who probably would never have thought to use an accountant, except that they got a letter from HMRC that said words to the effect of, we understand that you are in receipt of rental income, but we don't see it on your tax return. Why is that? Or, we understand that you have recently sold a property, but we note that there are no capital gains tax pages on your tax return. Why is that? And then after I've done whatever is necessary to set things right, without exception, they have all asked me, but how did they know? HMRC gets information from so many different sources, from your bank to your employer, to the land registry, selling platforms such as eBay and Vinted. So why wouldn't they know? HMRC are determined to close what they call the tax gap, this being the difference between the tax that HMRC believe that they should be collecting and the tax that HMRC are actually collecting. And to that end, they've developed a database called Connect that pulls in data from so many different sources, including banks, the DVLA, the Land Registry, flight sales, passenger manifests, even web browsing and emails. Connect is now at the heart of HMRC's tax investigations, and because it's powered by AI, it allows HMRC to more quickly analyse billions of data points to pinpoint taxpayers who they think deserve a closer look. The quickest way to get flagged for a tax investigation is to leave information off your tax return that HMRC know that you receive. And when they do finally finish their investigation, not only will they make you pay the tax, but you will also have to pay penalties and interest as well. So next time you're thinking who's going to know, then think again, as HMRC probably already do know. And for those of you smugly thinking, I've been under declaring for years and I've not heard anything, you need to add the word yet to that sentence. You may be lucky and HMRC will never actually get round to you, but personally, I like to sleep at night. So if you found this information useful, please give this post a like, please follow this account, and please share this with anybody you think needs to know. Take care. Bye-bye.
Working as an accountant is really great because HMRC love them a grey area. You want to know how you should do something, don't expect it to be clear in the legislation, don't expect HMRC to have one rule on it, and don't expect every accountant to interpret the rules that we have the same way. It's wonderful. We recently had a query from a client. They expected us to be doing something one way, we were doing it another. I asked around in my network, because one of the best things about being a business owner is having people that do what you do, so you can ask them questions. I asked around and they all did it different ways. So I went to one of the experts that we have that we occasionally refer things to if it's out of the scope of what we can do, which is also really important as a business owner. Always have people that are experts in stuff that you aren't. And he came back and said, one of them things, you can do it 6 different ways. It sort of depends on your interpretation. If you speak to one HMRC officer, they'll want it this way and tell you you're wrong. But if you speak to another person in the same team, they will want it that way and tell you that you're wrong. So you just have to pick an option and hope for the best. And when you are getting paid to do people's accounts and getting paid to interpret these rules in the best way you can, when the answer is HMRC don't even know what they want, it's so hard to win. It's just one of those things. But if you ever think, well, my old accountant didn't do that, it might not be that your old account is wrong or the new account is wrong. It might be just a different interpretation of the rules. And if you're ever unsure, just ask your accountant the question, and they should be happy to explain why they do it the way that they do it. And if they're not happy to explain it, maybe find a new one.
Do you ever just like look at your children or just like watch kids playing and just be like, you don't know how fucking good you've got it, really? And my mum used to say this thing. She used to be like, you know, youth is wasted on the young, and 100% it is. Like, the more that every day I stray further into this ghetto hood called adulthood, the more that I'm like, you know what, I just stop the world, I want to get off. It's just so crazy. And it's like every day there's a scandal. Every day, like, you can go about just trying to live your life, and every day there is something that will pop up that will try to beat you back down. And if that isn't enough, somehow in this country they've managed to convince us to have this like crabs in a barrel mentality, where we don't really want to kind of elevate ourselves necessarily, because if we're down, as long as everybody else is down with us, that's fine. So we'll watch everybody else's pocket and we'll be like, it's not fair, they should be charged more, whatever. Not everybody should be charged less. No. They should be poorer because I'm poor. And it's funny because you see things happening, and I can only imagine what people that are going through certain things felt at the time. So for example, the post office scandal, with you read some of the stories and how harrowing they are and how awful they are, and these people that lost their livelihoods. And now everybody is up in arms, but you can imagine at the time these people were like completely vilified and whatever, and nobody kind of took a step back to see the wood through the trees and think like, actually, this doesn't make sense. Well, all of a sudden we've just got this, you know, post office that everybody goes into to be thieves. Like 600, 700, 800, 900 people are going to go into this one profession to steal. Like, it doesn't really make sense. And similarly, you have this situation now with the loan charge scandal. If you don't know what the loan charge is, I will briefly tell you what it is. So back in the day, self-employed people, a lot of self-employed people were advised by professional people that if they wanted to lower their income tax liability, what they could do is kind of set it up and structure it in that the money comes into a limited company and they will pay themselves via a loan. Now, you may or may not know that if you receive a loan, you don't pay income tax on it because it's not your money, it's considered a loan, right? So a lot of people did this, and turns out that, you know, you shouldn't have done this. Basically, HMRC has said, we consider that to be a tax avoidance scheme and that should be declared, yada, 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 which is all fine. What they're saying now is that they consider that to be disguised remuneration, which is to say it was remuneration, but you were pretending that it was a loan. Now, first things first, these individuals were advised to do that by professionals. So they don't know. They have gone to somebody and they've said, no, this is fine. You can do this as a legitimate way to lower your tax liability. The second thing is, now HMRC are targeting tens of thousands of people and they are asking them to pay the tax that would have been due. They are asking them to pay that as a one lump sum. Yeah, they want all the money in. And not only that, the issue is that there's no right of appeal. They've come in and they've said what they've said, and there are people that have lost their lives because of this. There are, 10 people at least that directly linked to this that have died by suicide. Other cases of self-harm have been noted, again, directly linked to this. And the assault is just continuous and it is relentless. And the irony of this is that they will frame this that, these people were, these are the bad people. They were avoiding tax. And that may well be the case, but they were advised to do that. And the joke is that the promoters of these schemes have not had to pay a single penny back. The people that told them to do that haven't had to do that. But again, the individual has to bear the brunt for knowledge that they didn't have. And when they sought actual knowledge, actual advice from professionals, and followed that, who foots the bill? Adulthood wouldn't recommend.
Brexit was meant to be the end of the story, but it's starting to look like a new chapter's being written. With talk of an EU reset, closer alignment and fresh deals, both sides of the Brexit divide are fired up. Some say it's a betrayal. Others say it's just common sense after years of economic chaos. Today on Brit Rants, we're not picking sides. We're diving into the TikTok reaction storm to see what real people across the UK have to say. Subscribe if you're tired of spin and want to hear what Britain actually thinks.
Keir Starmer has just signed a deal with the EU, right? And basically it means fishermen from the EU can come over here in our waters and fish, which is not not good. We can go over there too, but not great for UK fishermen, right? But there's supposedly a freedom of movement deal, which is actually quite good for us because I hate living in England and I've been wanting to move to Europe and work there for years. And I've been praying for something like this happen, and it could possibly be happening, which would be fantastic. Freedom of movement is undeniably a good thing. But what is also a good thing is the wonderful right-wing Brexiters cheering, and they're not cheering, they're crying their eyes out on Twitter right now. They're not very happy. They are not very happy. Fair enough for some of the reasons, but most of the reasons they're just not very happy. We didn't vote for this, we voted Brexit, so you got to give us Brexit. You know what that sounds like to me, guys? You should have passed this by the voters if you wanted to change any deals with the It sounds like what you guys are asking for is a second referendum. Ooh, a second referendum. That's kind of what that sounds like to me. And I know I'm being a here, but I'm also being fully serious. If you are that, we should kind of have one. It's been undeniably bad, right? Undeniably bad. And they've got people like, we're gonna have 150 million European immigrants coming over, blah, blah, blah. Mate, since Brexit, boat crossings have gone up so high, got so much worse, and more people are coming over. So Brexit didn't help us in the first place. I don't know what we're talking about here. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I thought I'd just share some of this information with you guys. I'm still learning about it right now, to be completely honest. I'm just spitballing here with a bit of ideas and a bit on how I'm feeling. But I'm pretty excited for the possibility of freedom of movement. How are you excited? How are you feeling about this whole deal here? Are you mad? Are you happy? It's not all great. It never is. You know what I'm saying? Most of these deals always, benefit billionaires. But I would quite like to live in Spain, I must say.
Brexit is back in the news. I'm here at Impington Recreation Ground after the AGM. Brexit's back in the news. It's back in the news because Keir Starmer has decided to negotiate with the EU. I mean, I guess he kind of looked at the economy and thought, oh my goodness, I don't have a lot of options open to me. So back to the EU. And yeah, trading with the US. Maybe that looked good 12 months ago. Doesn't look quite so clever now. Or quite so reliable. It is so... Brexit remains such a difficult issue. We were sold a promise which never materialised, and the reality is massive economic self-harm, loads of industries that have been locked out of trading in Europe. Any business that's small will really, really struggle. And the loss of freedom of movement, particularly to young people, is absolutely heartbreaking. All those opportunities lost. So it's good that Keir Starmer has opened negotiations, but there is so much more we need to see.
The man who wants to be left alone will be surpassed by the man who wants change. And we are seeing that once again with the Labour Party. Keir Starmer is looking to essentially begin the reversal of Brexit, which was the democratic will of the people of this nation. The problem is that we outsourced this will to the Tories, who were never going to actually, stand up for us. They had their own interest at heart. But this just does go to show that the political class don't care. They're not going to listen to you. They've always got their motives and they will always try and push it through. The problem is that we are not the ones in power. They are. And this has been a massively unpopular move. Basically, he's going to sell the fishermen down the river to make sure that the airport queues are less. Like, who cares about airport queues? Really? How first world problems do you need to get with airport queues? Because you can afford to go on a foreign holiday, then that becomes a problem that needs a government response. Absolutely ridiculous. Even John Swinney was annoyed by this. Not because, it's going to put the kibosh on a lot of Scottish fishermen. That wasn't his problem. He just was disappointed that he wasn't told about it. And that nobody asked his opinion. He didn't get to rubber stamp that, yeah, we will screw over Scottish fishermen to appease the EU. No, that's what he was annoyed at. None of these people are on your side. You need to take your own side. You need to stand for your own people because none of them are going to do it for you. That is the long and short of it. These people don't care about you. They don't care about the things you want. They aren't interested in sovereignty. They aren't interested in preserving this culture, this nation and its people. They just want to open the doors, get freedom of movement in, increase mass immigration, and really, really ramp up the control that big business has over this country. If you don't want that, you need to change it. You need to stand with the Homeland Party because we're the only ones that's going to put our people first.
9 years ago in 2016, the British people turned out in their millions to vote in one of the largest democratic voting exercises this country has ever seen. That was the referendum vote on whether to remain in the EU or leave the EU. And although it was very close, millions of people voted to leave. Tomorrow, by all accounts and by all reports, Keir Starmer has a summit with the EU. And without any form of democratic vote, it appears that he's going to give away many of the things that were won through Brexit. So, essentially, he's going to be restoring complete freedom of movement for all under 30-year-olds across the EU and into the UK. He apparently is going to be giving away fishing rights to the British fishing waters and British fishermen's waters. Our 12-mile exclusion zone, that's going to be going. We are going to be entering into military pacts and military alliances, which we don't have very much control over whatsoever. And we're also apparently going to be jumping on board with a whole range of EU regulations and regulatory requirements, including all of their food standards and their food standards requirements and laws, which again takes away control from us. And bear in mind, none of this is with any sort of a vote. None of this is through a democratic process. The British people haven't voted on it, but not even the MPs in Parliament have voted on it. There's been no debate, there's been no discussion, there's been no formal talks around any of these measures. It's just happening. And you have no say in it whatsoever. Is that democracy? Is that what you voted for? Whether you're a Brexit fan or a Brexit hater, it at least was a democratic process.
and we allegedly have the mother of all parliaments. But changes like this, which essentially are reversing many of the aspects of that biggest ever vote, are just going to be signed off and signed through with no hint of democracy whatsoever. It's bad enough that the people don't get to vote on it, but that the MPs themselves, the people that we have elected to represent us, have not even had a debate on it. Many of them don't even know what the measures are themselves, and they've not had a vote on it. It's an absolute disgrace. So let's see what comes out tomorrow. Let's see how many powers he actually does sign away, and whether this basically is rejoining the EU through the back door, which is what many are calling it. If that does happen, the British people need to make it very, very, very clear what they think of this lack of democracy, what they think of Keir Starmer, and what they think of the EU.
In some Brexit-related news this evening, it appears Keir Starmer seems to have undone every single thing of Brexit and taken us back into the EU. Or so you'd think, the way some of you are behaving. That's a you problem, an EU problem. The fact that certain parts of the media are reacting the way they are tells me enough. Before I even look at the details, it tells me enough that it's the right thing to do. They are literally frothing at the gash. Oh, he's betrayed us! Has he now? Good. And the fact that Bojo has reared his overgrown head and started saying, you know, he's betrayed the people of Britain, gone back on his promises. You don't know the meaning of the word promise or standard or integrity. The fact it's rolled you up also makes me happy. Of course, now the press are talking about the betrayal of the fishermen. We had the pensioners, we had the farmers, now we had the fishermen. I mean, there's no one safe, is there, at all, from Keir and his betrayals? But again, it's lots of rich, powerful people in the media that are telling you how to feel. I'm looking at some of the comments in the videos. Most people that are rolled up probably can't even spell the word fisherman with the greatest of respect. Don't tell me you've looked the deal inside out. 70% of the UK's fish is exported. Normally, in the old days, it went to places like the EU. Because of Brexit, all the paperwork and additional checks meant most of that food was rotten before it got there. Exports are back. Remember the countless news reports of everyone whinging about not being able to use the e-gates when they go on Hollybobs? Well, that might change now, so you can stop whinging. Supermarkets have said that food prices might come down. You'll have more money in your back pocket, and the economy will grow. Let me guess, you're not happy because of sovereignty? Let's not forget youth mobility, the opportunities for your children and your grandchildren to travel and work across Europe without any hindrance. Wouldn't that be amazing? Closer ties when it comes to stopping and defeating terrorists. I mean, what is there to lose? We had all this before, guys. It's back, whether you like it or not.